If you are a green card holder, a lawful permanent resident, and you travel outside the United States, stop. Before you book your next flight, you need to hear this. The rules for re-entering the United States have changed, and if you don't know about these changes, you could be stopped at the border, questioned for hours, or, in serious cases, denied entry and risk losing your green card permanently. This is not a scare tactic. This is real. This is happening in 2026, right now, to green card holders at U.S. airports and border crossings across the country. Stay with me for the next 10 minutes. I'm going to break this down clearly, step by step, so you know exactly what has changed, who is affected, and what you must do to protect your status. Welcome to Immigration Radar USA, the channel that keeps you informed with accurate, up-to-date U.S. immigration news based on official government sources. Today's video is about one of the most important topics for green card holders in 2026, the updated rules for re-entering the United States after international travel. Everything I am sharing today comes directly from official sources, including the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services known as USCIS, U.S. Customs and Border Protection known as CBP, and the Department of Homeland Security or DHS. I will also reference recent policy announcements and a presidential proclamation that took effect on January 1, 2026. Whether you travel for family, work, or emergencies, this update applies to you. Let's get into it. Here is the first major change you need to know about. Starting December 26, 2025, the Department of Homeland Security published a final rule called the Collection of Biometric Data from Aliens Upon Entry to and Departure from the United States. In simple English, if you are not a U.S. citizen, you will now be photographed and possibly fingerprinted every single time you enter or exit the United States. This includes green card holders. This includes lawful permanent residents. CBP uses facial recognition technology, a system called the Traveler Verification Service, to match your face to your travel documents and immigration records. This technology is being rolled out starting with major international airports and will expand to land borders and seaports over the next 3 to 5 years. Now here is why this matters for you as a green card holder. Before this rule, many permanent residents were photographed when entering, but not always when leaving. That gap is now closed. The system now tracks both your arrival and your departure. The government now has a complete digital record of when you left and when you came back. This means that any long absence from the United States, whether it's 6 months, 1 year, or longer, will be digitally documented. There is no way to quietly stay abroad and hope nobody noticed. The system knows. The second major update involves a specific group of green card holders. USCIS has announced that it will conduct intensive reviews of green cards issued to citizens from 19 specific countries. These countries are Afghanistan, Burma, also known as Myanmar, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. If you originally came from one of these countries and you hold a green card, the government is now taking a second, closer look at how your permanent residency was approved. The reason given by DHS is concerns about previous vetting standards and security risks. This does not automatically mean your green card will be taken away, but it does mean that if you travel internationally and re-enter the U.S., you may face additional questioning and document checks at the port of entry. On December 16, 2025, the White House published a presidential proclamation titled, Restricting and Limiting the Entry of Foreign Nationals to Protect the Security of the United States. This took effect on January 1, 2026. This proclamation targets nationals from certain countries where the U.S. government says it cannot properly verify identity, criminal history, or security risk. Now, this primarily affects people applying for new visas or new green cards. However, it adds to a broader environment of tighter scrutiny at the border. Even existing green card holders from affected regions may experience longer questioning and processing when they return to the U.S. Now let me talk about the rules that have always existed under USCIS, but are now being enforced more aggressively than ever before. Here are the core rules for green card holders traveling internationally. Rule number 1. Trips under 6 months. If you travel outside the United States for less than 6 months, you are generally safe. This is considered a brief trip. You can return to the U.S. normally with your valid green card. Rule number 2. Trips between 6 months and 1 year. If your trip is between 6 months and 1 year, CBP officers may question you. They will want to know, do you really live in the United States? Do you have a U.S. job? Do you file U.S. taxes? Do you have family here? If you cannot show strong ties to the U.S., you could be found to have abandoned your permanent residency. Rule number 3. Trips over 1 year. If you plan to be outside the United States for more than 1 year, you must apply for a reentry permit before you leave. I will explain this in detail in a moment. Rule number 4. Multiple short trips. Here is something many people do not know. Even if you never take one single long trip, multiple short trips that ADD up to more than 6 months can also trigger scrutiny. CBP officers look at your total time outside the country, not just one single trip. This is especially important for people who visit family abroad frequently. Let's talk about the reentry permit. This is one of the most important tools available to green card holders who need to travel for extended periods. A reentry permit is an official travel document issued by USCIS. It allows you to re-enter the United States after being abroad for up to 2 years without losing your permanent resident status. You apply for it using Form I-131, Application for Travel Document. Here is what you must know about the reentry permit. First, you must apply while you are inside the United States. You cannot apply from abroad. If you have already left and you need a permit, it is too late. You cannot file from overseas. Second, you must attend a biometrics appointment after filing. This means fingerprints and photos. USCIS will send you an appointment notice. Do not leave the country before your biometrics are collected or your application may be denied. Third, processing times are currently running approximately 3 to 6 months. Plan well in advance. Fourth, the permit is valid for 2 years from the date it is issued. It cannot be extended. If you stay abroad beyond those 2 years, the permit expires and you will need to apply for a returning resident visa, called an SB1 visa, at a U.S. embassy or consulate abroad. Fifth, a reentry permit protects your green card status, but it does not protect your eligibility for U.S. citizenship. For naturalization, you still need continuous residence in the U.S. Long trips abroad, even with a permit, will interrupt your 5-year or 3-year continuous residence requirement for citizenship. When you return to the United States as a green card holder, be prepared. Do not come empty-handed. Here is what you should bring: your valid, unexpired green card, Form I-551. This is your primary document, your valid foreign passport, your re-entry permit. If you were abroad for more than 1 year, evidence of your ties to the United States. This means pay stubs or an employment letter, lease or mortgage documents, recent U.S. tax returns, U.S. bank account statements, and proof of U.S. family ties. A travel log, a simple record showing all your departure and return dates. You can keep this in a notebook or on your phone. If your green card has expired, you may present it together with a USCIS receipt notice showing that your renewal application, Form I-90, is pending. Airlines and CBP can accept this combination as proof of your continued status. In 2026, enforcement at U.S. ports of entry has become noticeably stricter. This is being reported by immigration attorneys across the country. CBP officers are now looking beyond just the length of your most recent trip. They are asking deeper questions about your life. Where do you live? Where do you work? Where does your family live? Where do you pay taxes? Where is your home? Federal agencies are now sharing digital data more easily. This means CBP can quickly access your tax records, your travel history, your address history, and even court records, including old arrests or expunged cases. If you have any criminal history, even a minor issue that was closed or dismissed, it is strongly recommended that you consult with an immigration attorney before you travel internationally. Drug-related issues in particular are treated very strictly at the border. Even something that is legal in your state can be grounds for denial under federal immigration law. If a CBP officer believes you have abandoned your permanent residency, you can be placed into removal proceedings. That means immigration court. That means potentially losing your green card. This is why preparation matters more than ever. One final important point about naturalization: becoming a U.S. citizen. Many green card holders dream of one day applying for U.S. citizenship. To do that, you need to meet the continuous residence requirement, 5 years of continuous residence in the U.S., or 3 years if you are married to a U.S. citizen. Trips abroad can disrupt this clock. Any absence of 6 months or more may raise questions about your continuous residence. Any absence of 1 year or more generally breaks continuity entirely, unless you filed Form N-470 to preserve your residency for naturalization purposes before you left. A reentry permit preserves your green card status, but it does not preserve your naturalization clock. These are two separate things. Know the difference. If you are serious about becoming a U.S. citizen, track your travel dates carefully and keep your time abroad as short as possible. Let me quickly summarize everything we covered today. Number 1. As of December 26, 2025, all green card holders are now photographed and biometrically tracked at every U.S. entry and exit point. Your travel history is being digitally recorded. Number 2. USCIS is conducting intensive reviews of green cards for nationals from 19 specific countries. If you are from one of those countries, be extra prepared when you travel. Number 3. Trips under 6 months are generally safe. Trips between 6 months and 1 year require you to show strong U.S. ties. Trips over 1 year require a reentry permit, Form I-131, applied for before you leave. Number 4. The reentry permit is valid for 2 years. It protects your green card, but not your citizenship clock. Apply from inside the U.S. before your biometrics appointment and plan 3 to 6 months ahead. Number 5. When you return to the U.S., carry your green card, passport, reentry permit if applicable, and documents showing your U.S. ties, taxes, employment, lease, bank statements. Number 6. Enforcement is stricter than ever. CBP is looking at the full picture of your life, not just your last trip. Consult an immigration attorney before any international travel if your situation is complex. I know this can feel overwhelming, but knowledge is your best protection. The more prepared you are, the smoother your reentry will be. Thank you for watching Immigration Radar USA. Subscribe for the latest U.S. immigration updates.